Okay. I request Trishur branch technical team to play the ICAI motto song.
Yaesha supteshu jagrati Yaesha supteshu jagrati Kamam 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 Pursho nirmimanaha nirmimanaha Tadeva shukram tada brahma tada brahma Tadeva mritamuchyate Tasmin lokaha shataha Sarvatamunatyati kaśchan
Thank you. Respected Chief Guest of the Day, CA Chandrasekhar Vasan Chitile sir, Conference Chairman CA Satishan sir, Speaker for the day CA Premnath Degala sir, Chairman of Navaratna branches, Secretary of Pallakad branch CA Danya Rakesh, Vice Chairman CA Saran Chandran, SICASA Chairman CA Mahesh Varghese, Committee members CA Danya Shankar and CA Vishnumurthy, Managing Committee members of all other branches and dear members of our fraternity. Good evening to all. Today is the third day of Navaratna Season 3, which is being hosted by Pallakad branch of SIRC of ICAI. We are happy that we could continue the legacy of Navaratna, the flagship seminar series, a novel idea which was initiated in 2020 by the then Pallakad Chairman CA Vimal Venu sir and well executed with the support of all Navaratna chairmen during that period and our council members CA Babu Abraham sir and CA Jomon sir this year also. Navaratna is the only seminar series organized jointly by all branches of a state in India, and we, the branches of Kerala, are proud of this unity. We are also happy that our members are eagerly waiting for the Navaratna seminar, and many members have been calling us to inquire about this. The participation of around more than 600 members in the last 2 days are a proof of its acceptance by members from Kerala. We also have many participants from other states as well, considering the relevance and importance of topics, and of course, the reputation expertise of all the speakers. I'm sure this Navaratna will be continued as a joint program of all the branches of Kerala forever with the support of council members of our institute. The topic for today's session is peer review, and as you all know, the main objective of peer review is to ensure that in carrying out the assurance assignments, our members comply with the technical, professional, and ethical standards, and also ensure that proper systems, including documentation, are in place to demonstrate the quality of assurance services. Today, we have with us the most appropriate person for the topic as our chief guest, Chairman of Peer Review Board of ICAI, Chandrasekhar Vasan Chitile sir. I welcome Chandrasekhar sir to this session. SICASA Chairman of SIRC and our Conference Chairman for Navaratna Season 3, C. Satishan sir is with us. He was instrumental in coordinating with all the branch chairmen to ensure that Navaratna Season 3 is organized flawlessly. I welcome Satishan sir for today's program. We have got an eminent speaker today who is an expert in various fields like bank audits, international taxation, forensic audit, peer review, etc., etc. CA Premnath Degala sir from Hyderabad. Welcome, CA Premnath sir. Next, I would like to welcome all the chairmen of Navaratna branches. CA Shivprasad sir, Chairman of Kannur branch, CA Santosh Pai sir, Chairman of Kozhikode branch, CA Ajit Kaimal sir, Chairman of Thrissur branch, CA Jose sir, Chairman of Ernakulam branch, CA Martin sir, Chairman of Alavura branch, CA Sabu sir, Chairman of Kollam branch, CA Sabu Thomas sir, Chairman of Kottayam branch, and CA Chilianji Samuel sir, Chairman of Thiruvananthapuram branch. My hearty welcome to the managing committee members of all 9 branches and all professional colleagues who have joined for today's session. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Now, I invite our managing committee member, CA Danya Shankar, to introduce our chief guest, CA Chandrasekhar Vasant sir. Over to Danya.
Good evening, everyone. Here is a brief introduction of today's chief guest. He is a Central Council member and the chairman of the Direct Access Committee and Peer Review Board established by the Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has been a council member of the Institute for the period from 2018 to 2022 and 2022 to 2025. He is a member of various committees such as Accounting Standards Board, Auditing and Assurance Standards Board, Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, Internal Audit, and Financial Reporting Review Board. He has written several articles in newspaper and periodicals, including the Economic Times, the Times of India, Indian Express, Chartered Accountants Journal, etc. He had been a lecturer at various colleges and management institutions across the country. He has also authored several books on taxation and audits. He specializes in direct access, drafting and conveyancing, and corporate counseling. With these few words, I introduce CA Chandrasekhar Vasant Chitle to this august gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Danya. Now, may I invite our chief guest, CA Chandrasekhar sir, for the inaugural address.
Thank you. Only in addition to that introduction, let me also state what Chairperson has stated, that I am also Chairman of Peer Review Board. And today's the topic is peer review. So I welcome you, Chairperson, Pallakad branch, all the diamonds of this NAVARATNA branches, speaker for today's session, which is on peer review, CA Premnath, Degala, and all the members of Kerala SIRC. It's really pleasure that all the branches are coming together and organizing this seminar on various topics of professional interest. Today, we are going to have view on peer review. Earlier, I was also member of disciplinary committee, and cases of negligence, etc., filed by regulators, filed by stakeholders, come for consideration before the disciplinary committee. At disciplinary committee, I have noticed two set of defendants or respondents against whom the charges are levied. One is maybe for 3-4 hours they will explain how sincerely they have conducted the audit, how they have skipped their lunch and dinner, and they were, after this audit, their team was working very hard, and that's how they could complete the audit. So this they will tell us orally for 3-4 hours. And then there is another set of respondents who are the auditors. They will place on table maybe 5-6 audit files, wherein you will find the audit program, the notes on audit, various minutes of the discussion, confirmation statements, and analysis of various matters which are relevant to the audit. And needless to say that those who document their work succeed before the disciplinary committee or any other court, and those who talk orally do not succeed. Because as you are aware, in the courts of law, it is a document which talks and the oral talk has got zero meaning. Well, friends, it is not very pleasant to appear before the disciplinary committee as a respondent when you are charged with certain negligence in conduct of audit, in attest function, in certification. So ahead of that, maybe there is a good opportunity for you to tighten up your belts, because maybe you are doing particular audit maybe for 5 years, for 10 years. So certain set procedure you are following without revisiting that whether that was the appropriate procedure or you are missing on some account. And here the peer review comes very handy, because maybe ahead of peer review on your own, you try to find out whether your files are adequately having various documents, whether programs are there, and various other processes relating to audit, whether they have been followed or not. And after having considered these documents, whether the report that you are making, whether it really culminates into whatever observations you have made during the course of audit. And there, maybe your wordings also matter. And I really recollect that in one audit report, a tax audit report, there was various problem about the sundry creditors, about the unsecured loans, etc. And substantial additions were made. And then since the audit report did not adequately reflect the want of confirmation certificates, etc., So he was also put to disciplinary uh, complaint by the regulator. And before the disciplinary committee, the chartered accountant argued that no, I have made mention of this want of confirmation certificates in my audit report. Then the committee asked him, okay, what mention you have made in your audit report? And it was stated that in some cases, the balance confirmation certificate from parties under debtors, creditors, loans, advances, and debtor and other unsecured loans are not available. Then the committee asked him, okay, how many are the parties under these debtors, creditors, loans, advances? And he said that there are 83 parties. And the committee asked him how many confirmations were received. And then he said three confirmations are received. So when three confirmations are received, committee said, you cannot say that some of the parties have not given confirmation. It is some of the parties who have given confirmation and most of them have not given. And then that will significantly influence your observation as far as the amount held under those accounts is concerned. And he was held guilty. So not only that you have to have the documentation appropriately done, but also the report you are making, the word, the choice of English language, that also has to be appropriate. And maybe as a usual curriculum, it might be started that earlier out of 80 you were receiving 70 confirmation certificates. So 10 were not there and this wording was employed, and year after year, even if there are insignificant amount of confirmations received and still you are continuing the same wording, I think that speaks of complacency. And if some introspection is made, you will really, that will enable you to tighten up your belts. And peer review is one such process where your own friend assists you in improving your quality by pointing out if there are any limitations, what are those limitations, if the improvement is required, what improvement is to be done. And then you are able to comply maybe going forward, or if for earlier period also, if you want to bridge the gap in your documentation, that helps you. So friends, we have to understand when we are performing a test function that the documentation has to be appropriately made. And it is not only the expectation of the institute through the standards of auditing, but as you are aware that Companies Act 2013 has also included provisions which mandate corporate world to follow accounting standards and also for the auditors to follow standards on auditing. So both this have now legally become mandatory as far as corporate world is concerned. For others also, from your own perspective, it is necessary that you maintain proper documentation, because as far as these regulators are concerned, now they have become sharp. As far as this information technology is concerned, the documents, the financial statements, the income computation statements, they are very handy in the nook and corner of the country, where various officers can examine it. And if they find that there are certain shortcomings, reports are being made to the institute with an expectation that in appropriate cases, the institute shall take punitive action against the chartered accountants. And the flow of such complaints from various regulators, be it NAFRA, be it SEBI, be it stock exchange, be it income tax department, be it GST department, be it cooperative department, number of them are even in case of most of the banks, we are receiving so many complaints. Particularly, typically how it happens in case of banks, if a particular loan account goes NPA, then some investigating officer is appointed. That investigating officer is also an employee of the bank. And then if he has to raise an accusing finger to some other bank officer, his own colleague. So socially it becomes very inconvenient for him to blame the officer or the colleagues who have been addressing the loan, sanctioning the loan, monitoring it. So the easiest scapegoat is the auditor who has certified the balance sheet, the auditor who has verified the stocks and issued statement or certificate relating to stock and debtors, and finding some fault and filing complaint, so that their job is over. And that's how the complaints from these lenders and financial institutions against chartered accountants are on an increase. So we have to take proper precaution. It is not that we cannot do that, but whatever work we have done has to be demonstrated by way of documents which are available with the chartered accountant. There has to be proper appointment letters. In some of the seminars of tax audit, I also ask people to introspect that maybe of your friends, of other colleagues, you are doing tax audit as a proprietor, as a partnership firm, maybe you are doing those audits for 10 years, for 15 years. You just check whether you have appointment letters for all those 10, 15 years. And in maybe significant number of cases, you will find that appointment letters are not there. So these are causes of concern, because now stakeholders have also become smart and writing one letter to the institute, paying 2,500 rupees and filing disciplinary complaint. These are becoming rampant. In case of partners also, when the dispute takes place, rather than filing suit against the other partner, it is the auditor who is finding himself to be a victim. So peer review process is really assisting the professionals to find out these gaps in their documentation, to enable them to prepare their files in an appropriate manner. And once the files are made, once the documents are available, certainly one would be able to take appropriate conclusions and report those conclusions by way of audit reports or maybe by way of certificates. In case of peer review process, recently we have made changes and new guidelines are now applicable from 1st day of October. So those guidelines would be released soon after the minutes of the council are released. As per new guidelines, certain timeline has been set for the purpose of conducting this peer review. And generally we feel that within 30 days, the peer review process should be over. Former application form, along with the application form, the information required for the peer review is also sought by the peer review board. Then you have to furnish the information. The other procedure, the the speaker for the day will inform you. The importance of peer review will again increase, because last month we had meeting with Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Now the empanelment forms are also floated. So at the meeting, it was informed by the C&AG that up till now, whatever information we are submitting for the purpose of empanelment is by and large quantitative information about the CA firms or the practice units. But for the purpose of allotment, we also have to take a view on qualitative aspect of the audit firms. So what are those qualitative aspects they asked us? And at the moment, one important qualitative aspect that they themselves noticed is the peer review. So they said that, okay, if the firm is subjected to peer review, they will get good marks. Out of 160 or odd marks, we were indicated that maybe 25 to 30 marks would be allotted to peer review. Therefore, all of you who are going to apply for the purpose of empanelment, maybe they are well advised to subject their practicing units to peer review, so that they get good marks as far as this empanelment is concerned. The discussions are, thought process is on with the C&AG. So maybe in due course of time, they will make an announcement how they are going to deal with this peer review and what marks they are going to allot and what will be the criteria for the purpose of allotment of those marks. But after that announcement in the month of January, it would be very difficult to accomplish the peer review. So it is necessary that maybe immediately you can take a call whether you want to apply for this particular C&AG and then to get your firm subjected to peer review. Besides C&AG, the bankers also use the same data for the purpose of allotment of bank branch audits. And you are aware that the number of branches under audit are reducing year by year. So maybe in a reduced availability of branches for the purpose of audit, more thrust would be given to the quality driven audit firms rather than the quantity. So that is also one aspect that we have to bear in mind. And apart from allotment of audits by C&AG, there are various state government undertakings, local authorities, and various other government institutions. They also requisition this panel from the C&AG for the purpose of making appointment of auditors or the consultants for their own organizations. So from the perspective of government and semi-government.
Excuse me, sir. Your video is not on. Excuse me, sir. Your video is not on.
Sir, my video
Please
is on. I am barred from the purpose of unmuting. And that at the beginning I stated, perhaps you have joined recently, so you have not noticed it. So these things also come to our light in peer review. So this is the importance of peer review. And therefore, the speaker will also be adequately able to deal with this subject. I am sure that he will be able to satisfy all your queries. And if still queries remain, I am available. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the keynote address. Now, may I now request our conference chairman, CA Sadishan, sir, for the opening remarks.
Respected our Central Council member and chief guest of the today, Chandrasekhar Basanchitla sir, chairman of Peer Review Board and Direct Tax Committee, and the one and only one diamond, woman diamond in Navaratna, our Anuja Madam, Pallakad chairperson, and vice chairman of Pallakad Sirin, Managing Committee member Danya, SICASA chairman Mahesh Varghese, and our today's faculty, Premnath Degala sir, other chairman of 9 branches of Kerala, and managing committee members of the branches, and my dear colleagues. Very warm good evening to all of you. Today is the 3rd day of our Navaratna program. Last 2 days it went well, and many people are appreciated, and the program and as well as the technical subjects are very nice. Today also I am sure that as our CCM informed, AS 200 to 810, I don't know how many of us just gone through that. Even then, so many documentation shortfall is happening, all of us, including me, because every time, the last moment, we are filing all the returns and the audit report and everything. So at that time, all the documents, there are shortfall of the many documents. So we have to concentrate on the documentation side, and we have to study all the AS and SS. So then only we can complete the audit, as sir said. Instead of the number of audit and quantity of audit, we have to concentrate on the quality of the audit. So I am sure that all of you will get enriched today's special session on peer review, because our Premnath Degala sir will explain in detail what are the consequences or what are the things to be done for the documentation. So I am sure that all will enrich in the program, and I am happy that be part of this Navaratna conference. All the chairmen of the 9 branches and the managing committee members are very hardly worked, and it was mooted actually by the then chairman of the Pallakad branch, Vimal Venu. At the time of COVID, all of us in the virtual mode, he mooted this program, and this is the 3rd time we are conducting with all of your all members of the Kerala and all the managing committee members of the branches, and as well as our CCMs and institute. We are able to conduct this program. I hope that it will continue and it will more attracted by the members. So I wish all the success to the future next 6 days program also. And I am sure that Santosh Pai sir is ready for tomorrow's program, and tomorrow is Calicut branch is going to host. So everybody is eagerly waiting to hear from Premnath sir regarding the peer review documentation matter and what are the consequences on that. So once again, I wish all the best, very best to the 9 days Navaratna conference, and we hope that we will continue this teamwork as a whole team of the Kerala, and all the members of the Kerala will be unitedly work for the betterment of the profession of the chartered accountants and the students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. Now I request our SICASA chairman, CA Mahesh Varghese, to give a brief introduction of our speaker, CA Premnath Degala sir. Over to Mahesh.
Thank you. Thank you. Chief guest of the day, CA Chandrasekhar Basanchitla, Chairman Peer Review Board, ICAI. Conference Chairman and SICASA Chairman of SIRC, CA Sadishan sir. Speaker of the day, Shri CA Premnath Degala, Chairperson of Pallakad branch, CA Anja Jayakrishan, and all other chairmen and MC members of the Navaratna and other members. Good evening. It's an honor and privilege to present CA Premnath Degala, the speaker of the day. He's a fellow chartered accountant and qualified DISA and FFD from ICAI. He's currently working as a partner, Mr. C. Ramachandran and Company, Chartered Accountants, Hyderabad. He has immense professional experience in internal and external audits of large manufacturing infrastructure, software, PSUs, and companies. He has done central, statutory, and branch statutory concurrent revenue audits of various branches, banks, income tax representation, including international taxation and transfer pricing, design and review of standard operating procedures as a part of SAP implementation audit study, review and audit of internal financial controls of PSU, listed large manufacturing and private limited companies. He has carried various forensic assignments of MNCs and large manufacturing companies. He is a peer reviewer and a technical reviewer of Financial Reporting Review Board of ICAI. He has conducted various training programs, seminars, conferences at ICAI since the year 2000. He is a regular speaker on e-filing, XML, XBRL audits under CBS and GST, etc. He is a regular visiting faculty at Income Tax Department Staff College, Hyderabad, GST Central and State Government, Hyderabad on GST Fraud Analytics, CNTG Staff Training, Hyderabad, National Institute of Rural Development on Tools and Techniques of Internal Audit, Central Vigilance Offices on Digital Forensic, National Police Academy, etc., etc. With these few words, I introduce CA Premnath Degala, the speaker of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahesh. Now, I invite us learned speakers, Premnath Degala, sir, to carry on with the technical session. Welcome, sir. I hand over the proceedings to Premnath, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. I thank Vimal sir for making me a part of this NAVARATNA program of God's Own Country branches. Fantastic moment for me. It's a great privilege to be a part of God's Own Country. So before I present, I keep asking questions. You can flood the chat box. Reason is, I don't know whether this topic is interesting to anyone. Because if I can ask the members, how many of the clients are interested in audit? How many clients are interested in audit? Everyone knows this. We are forcing clients to do audit. It's like a family planning operation in a lighter way. So having said, again, many of them doesn't like audit, and then the auditor is again put to audit, whether the auditor likes auditing his own books. I don't think if wife gives money to a husband and later on wife asks husband, give me a statement of account, will that be very happy? Even it is vice versa, generally happens. Meaning that asking questions, no one is interested in responding to that. Having said that, let me just share my I think I'm able to flash my PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Thank you. So I thank NAVARATNA, all the branches, more specifically Pallakad branch, for this peer review program. And the peer review program, I personally feel, is for ethical practice. That's what sir was also mentioning, CCM sir was mentioning. So what is professional? The dictionary meaning of professional, widely known, is profession is generally defined as any type of work which needs a special or particular skill, often one which is respected because it involves high level of education and skill. And that's the reason why, Supreme Court in many instances has said that chartered accountant is an expert. So we need to follow. That's what I said. If someone says that, yes, show me your documentation, I personally say someone need not ask me to show the documentation, but I should be prepared to demonstrate. Like, this is a Dasara moment where we all know it's a time when Lord Rama has killed Ravana. The reason being, Sita Devi was in Sri Lanka for more than almost an year time. After coming out of that, after the war is ended, Sita Mata has voluntarily come out and jumped into the fire to prove that she is sacred. Meaning, no one has enforced her to prove, but it is the professionalism, it is the knowledge, or it is a skill which makes that professional to demonstrate what is being practiced. So I say my opening remarks were, how many of them are interested in peer review? So I say we are professionals. It's not a family planning operation where we need to resist it. It is our duty. In fact, this is our duty to demonstrate whoever comes. It's not that the peer reviewer comes. We should be prepared to demonstrate at any given point of time that we practice the quality. We practice the quality. Of course, quality has much wider definitions and its meaning for various purposes. I'll not go into it. Let's go into the formal presentation one by one. So this views expressed are my personal views, and the content is not supported by council or committees or any of the branches. Okay. So we have played in the beginning Yeshu Shukteshu Jagruti, a super Tattvam. So the meaning of it is being involved professionally. Still, I am independent. I am identified with independence. So what? Why? Why is it? The reason is, if you can see here, this is where we are involved. This is where we are involved. If it is a tax advice, which is consulting technical skill content of work, which is complex, high risk problem, client seeks expertise but not involvement. Meaning this is an expertise area. And it goes efficiency. This is audit. And this is pragmatic low client risk, where we provide an value added services like acquisitions, mergers, due diligence, and so on and so on and so on. And this is strategic consulting. So this is where on a quadrant we are involved into everywhere. And more specifically, if is an audit client, but still I am involved into, though section 144 of Companies Act prohibits directly or indirectly, professionals are involved into the business areas. The reason is because we are looking into the books of accounts, we are almost sitting with the client, rubbing shoulders most of the time, and we are so much involved that we bypass certain times, certain threats, it looks like, but still I need to maintain my identity with independence, and that's the essence of Yeshu Shukteshu Jagruti. Yeah. Having said, okay, I said again professionalism. Now, professionalism for whose sake? The moment you open the code of conduct, the very first page Section 100, very first page, if you open it, it says whether we like or not, we are for public interest. Whether we like or not, whether we like this statement or not, we are carrying out the profession for public interest and not exclusively to satisfy the needs of individual clients or employing organization. I don't know how many of you accept this. Whether we like or not, then most of the youngsters, generally youngsters, may say, you should have published this at the time of taking the application. We would have not come to this profession because we want money. Okay, in a lighter way. But but I strongly say the very first word, the moment you open the code of conduct, it says we have to be for public interest. And why public interest means the moment someone reaches the stage, of high level of education and skill, they forget their existence and they only work for the public interest. Many of the senior members, we see that they always work for the public interest, contribute, they sacrifice their personal time, attending for the institute works like CCMs, many CCMs we see, they sacrifice, many branch chairmen, branch managing committee members, they sacrifice their personal time and they devote time for it, and that's none other than this public interest. So with these concepts, meaning I am making this presentation with one consideration. Number one, that is we are professionals, number one. And number two, I am making this presentation with an understanding that we are all on the same page, that we are working with public interest. So you may say, if I am working with public interest, so how should I live? Who pays me money? How do I live it? So for that, the Bhagavad Gita gives Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yuyutsava, Pandavas Seva, Kim Kurvata, Sanjaya. This is the very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita. The very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita, it says, if you can read it, Dharma Kshetre and Kurukshetre, meaning, if you can start reading it in the other way, wherever the literal meaning of this Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra is, the blindfolded man is asking the Sanjaya, what is happening at the Kurukshetra? This is the meaning of this sloka. But if you start reading it in the other way around, it says Kuru is carry out at every kshetra, and kshetra is place. Carry out dharma at every place is the another way of looking at this sloka. And that's what I say, at every assignment, we need to follow the dharma. What is dharma for chartered accountants? Is ICAI code. What does that code says? The code says you comply with technical standards, you comply with professional standards, you comply with ethical standards. That is the dharma for chartered accountant, where at every place we need to do it. And further it says karmanya vadikaraste. We all know this. The meaning of this is you just do your karma, carry out the dharma, and everything else will be taken care. And that's what I say. Let's carry out the dharma. Money will follow on its own way. Like wherever you follow dharma, money will follow us, or status will follow us. It's like Vodafone connections saying that wherever Vodafone is there, connections will follow, signals will follow. In that way earlier. In the same way, if you start following this, then money will follow. So having said, the objectives of peer review are two important things. We need to remember this. The two important with two important objectives. One is mainly to ensure that in carrying out assurance service assignments by the peer reviewer, the member of institute complies with, this is what I said, technical standards, professional standards, and ethical standards. including other regulatory requirements thereto. Number one, meaning the chartered accountant complies with all this. The peer reviewer will come and review whether the firm is complying with, number one. Number two, whether the firm has systems in place to ensure that this object one is achieved, meaning a twin objectives. Am I complying? To comply with, do I have a system? System need not be a computerized system. It can be even a manual system. But today, if someone says that I am still using the landline telephone, wherein 9-digit, 10-digit, a round circle is there, a round object, wherein I'll put my finger and start rolling it to carry out a phone call, people will laugh at. So even that is a system of calling, but still it is irrelevant today. So I say the proper system means mechanized, automated, digitized, and only then this can be complied with. Having said, I'll just take up an audit report first, and many of I request the participants to take out a pen and paper and write down for your own sense, for your own sake, how much do we follow this? Let me take you to the to look at this. I'll just take you to I keep bothering the management, asking whether I'm able to show the screen. Just want, I'll just download this. It's taking time. Yeah. So let's go back to our objectives screen. Yeah. So it says the member comply with technical, professional, ethical standards. Number one objective. Number two objective, there are systems in place, including documentation, to demonstrate that these three things have been complied with. Coming back to the audit report. In the audit report, I have just taken an example downloaded. I have nothing against any of these companies. So I'm saying here we have audited, etc. All these. Okay, that's a different. Now coming back here, I say here in the audit report, I have complied with technical standard. Look at this. This is a technical standard. What is technical standard? The technical standard is auditing standards. Here I am saying, in our opinion, to the best of our, are in conformity with Indian accounting standard or Indian or IGAP as per 133. I have complied. I'm making a statement here. Now, number one, yes, I'm saying I have complied. Now, the peer reviewer will ask, can you please demonstrate the system of complying this accounting standard? The documentation, and there is a proper system. There should be a proper system, including documentation, to comply with this technical, this compliance of auditing Indian accounting standards. Yeah. Now, my question is, I request members to flood the chat box as to what systems in place, to demonstrate this statement. Can someone flash on the chat box that what systems in place you have to demonstrate someone that this statement, I made this statement. Now, how do I demonstrate that I have complied this? I request members to please flood the chart. If you have permission to chart, put things on the chart so that it will be more of interactive rather than one side boring. Yes, please. God's own country, Navaratnas. Yes, please. So what can be? Can someone please? What can be? What can be? I say, what can ensure that I have complied with the standards? Is this the checklist? Can we say checklist? Okay. So which checklist? How, what kind of checklist? Who has developed this checklist? Whether this checklist is unique to that particular company or that checklist is equally applicable to all the industries irrespective of the company. Like say I am into a cement industry. Can I use the same checklist for software companies, contractors, steel or shipping companies or airline companies? No, it needs to be built, meaning I'm saying here the object of peer review is we are making so many statements. We are making so many statements in the audit report. If not only in the for Ind AS, any audit report you will find this similar language. Number one, this is, I say here I'm complying with the technical standards. Now, what is the proof for this compliance of technical standards? The checklist. And how those checklists will be, as I go on, I'll keep demonstrating it. Then we have conducted our audit in accordance with the standards on auditing. That is what Sir was mentioning, that starting from 200 to 800, there are so many standards. We have frankly accepted that we don't know how many standards are there and how much of content needs to be followed in this digitized environment. How do we follow all those 200 to 800, meaning something around 35 to 40 auditing standards? Sometimes it is guidance notes, expert advisory, so many things are there. Okay, now I'm making a statement here that I am complied. I have conducted my audit in accordance with standards on auditing. Now, what is the proof here? What is the system in place to say that I am complying with the professional standards? What is professional standards? Standards on auditing is professional standards. Now, what is the system in place which says that I have complied with the professional standards? I have to demonstrate this to the peer reviewer. And that is what today NEFRA is asking. And many of them, of course, NEFRA is role of NEFRA is around 5,000 or 6,000 and odd companies on that companies. But majority of them may say that we are out of NEFRA because I don't sign even a one single balance sheet which comes under NEFRA. Okay, fine. But today, AQMM is being made mandatory from 1st of April. And there are so many other things are made applicable, which will come into this place. Okay, my point here is, I'm saying in my audit report, I'm complying with the technical standards. What is the proper system? I'm saying I'm complying with professional standards. What is the proper systems? I'm saying here I'm complying with code of ethics. I'm saying I'm complying with ethical responsibilities. I'm saying here, but what is the system in place I have? What is the system in place I have? Sorry. So what is the system in place to demonstrate that I'm complying with technical, professional, and ethical standards? Whether all these systems are into different places, or all these things are in bits and pieces, or do I have a Computax kind of a thing, or Winman kind of a thing, or Genius kind of a thing, or Taxman kind of a thing? Do I have a software where that software has technical, professional, and ethical requirements put together into one platform? Do anyone have an idea about this? Or how many softwares are in the market which talks about technical requirements, professional requirements, and ethical requirements? Of course, all the three standards may not be under one platform. Rarely it will be. But are there any softwares where those tools are in a bits and pieces, split and spread in multiple places, but still chartered accountants are practicing it? Can someone mention it? Can someone mention it on the chart that yes, these are the tools that you are using it? Okay, you can type it so that the other members will be the objective of a very good program given by the past Pallakad chairman is to share the knowledge. So some of the members might be having very good utilities and tools. You can put it on the chart so that all the rest of the members can start following it. And that's the objective of this NAVARATNA program. Okay, having said, come back here. So what I'm trying to say here is, in this audit report, I'm making so many statements here, technical, professional, and ethical. How do I document? Going forward, I make much more deeper promises to the reader or user. I say here, I am identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement. I'm making a statement here, I'm identifying the risk of material misstatement, and I'm obtaining evidence which is sufficient and appropriate. Now, what is the proper system the chartered accountant is having to carry out this work? I'm further saying I'm understanding the internal financial controls. I'm asking, what is the proper system that demonstrates that I'm complying with internal financial controls? I'm further saying I have evaluated the appropriateness of accounting policies. What is the proper system and documentation which says that you have complied with accounting policies? And further, I say here, going concern is evaluated. What is the system in place to demonstrate that I have complied with? Further, I say here, I have obtained sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. This is a dangerous statement that a chartered accountant without carrying out the audit is making here. Obtained sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. This is what the chief guest sir. This is what the chief guest sir has said. that the confirmation letters form part of sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Now, which system will ensure that you are forced to collect audit evidences? And to the surprise, we all know, once a client returns are picked up for scrutiny, the income tax officer will add so much of expenses, like 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs of expenditure they'll add on, and saying that these are all self-made vouchers. The income tax officers, majority of the assessments, we see that the vouchers are self-made. To that, the chartered accountant who is making a representation on behalf of the client will say, yes, sir, add it. And the same chartered accountant has carried out the audit. And the chartered accountant is agreeing that the books are made on the self-made vouchers. Is this a sufficient appropriate evidence? Now, what systems in place at the practicing unit to substantiate this further? I'm saying here materiality is considered. So how much is material? SA 320. SA 320, if you look at the SA 320 practicing guide, the institute has released so much of practicing guide for the purpose of complying with the standards. And what is materiality? Is percentage of profit is material? Percentage of profit after tax is material or before tax is material? Or a percentage of fixed assets is material? Percentage of sales is material? Can the materiality be same for current year, next 20 years? You have a guidance on that. And what systems in place at the auditor's office to calculate materiality, and the samplings are picked up based on the proper materiality. Can a peer reviewer, can a practicing unit demonstrate this? Coming back. Furthermore, I say I have communicated with those charged with governance. Sir, how many audit notes did I issue? For every deviation, observation, is there an audit note mail sent automatically from any system? Do we have a system to communicate with those charged with governance? And we say here, sir, we have sought and obtained all information and explanation. Did I ever send a management an audit engagement letter, or did I ever send a letter requesting please provide all this information? Did I send a format requesting give me all this information? Which information? Which information depends upon understanding the client. I'll come back to that a little later. Now I say I have sought all the information. Now whether the system is in place, whether there is a system in place to say that I have asked the information, that the information is provided. I have asked information, information is provided, information is sufficient and appropriate, information is analyzed, information is commented. Is there a system in place? Now, say proper books of accounts required has been maintained. Now I say here I have carried out internal financial controls. I'm saying here I have carried out CARO, and that itself is a big ocean. And internal financial controls is a big ocean. And what is the system is in place to carry out and satisfy the peer reviewer? If at all peer reviewer is already satisfied before appointment itself. That is how the system is sorry to say, or in a lighter way, the peer reviewers are none other than our friends, because out of the three, I have to select one person. Whom will I select? I'll select who is more known to me. Why will I select a C&AG, or why will I select a more very big knowledgeable chartered accountant? I'll not do it. So that's a different story. Okay. But the point what I'm trying to talk here is the role of peer reviewer. The role of peer reviewer is peer reviewer point of view. Peer reviewer will start looking at the compliance with technical, professional, and ethical standards. And he'll also verify whether there is a system in place for what? For all the comments that I'm making in the audit report. Similarly, he'll start asking questions on this. Here we are saying for internal financial controls or with respect to various processes. I'll come back anyhow. And in addition to that, we are talking about, I'm saying here the company has maintained proper records showing full particulars. Company is maintaining, it's showing. Now what is the proper system? Come back again here. Somewhere we say here, inventories have been physically verified. Coming back again. Yeah. You can. I have nothing against this, but if you can carefully read this statement, I have nothing against this, but if you can read this carefully. I'm highlighting here. I hope most of them have already completed with the CARO. The company has sanctioned working capital limit of excess of 5 crores and so on and so on. In opinion, quarterly returns filed by the company with such books and financial statements are in agreed with, I don't know about this, but as a peer reviewer, you have nothing to ask about why you have used instead of auditing or unaudited. That's a different story altogether. But the peer reviewer will, you have to demonstrate to the peer reviewer what has been written here is as per technical, professional, and ethical standards. Whatever is written here. And so I hope it's clear what is the role of a peer reviewer and what is the role of a practicing unit. Let me just move on with this. Yeah. So now the scope, let's go in, let me just see, there are some chart. Now only chart is enabled. Okay. Yeah. Right. So let's look into the scope of today's presentation. One is, we'll talk about the quality professional controls, role of practicing unit, and role of the peer reviewer. So let me look at this. First one is quality professional controls. What are the controls now today we have? The controls that we have today on the profession. There is a peer review board, there is FRRB, there is QRB, there is tax audit. QRB is quality review board. Tax audit quality review board is disciplinary mechanism sir was talking about, is NEFRA, there is SEBI, is MCA, there is SFIO, Serious Fraud Investigating Officer. There are nowadays it has become a fashion. Nowadays it's a big fashion. ED and CBI, etc. They are all on one side attacking only chartered accountants for the reasons best known. Next, self-regulation by the peer review board. That is, every chartered accountant has a self-regulating mechanism. They submit this they follow this peer review process. And from 1/4/2023 onwards, audit quality maturity model is going to be made mandatory. And DCMM is now recommendatory, but it's also going to become mandatory. So these are all the issues. But okay, let us look at the quality issues. The reason is we need to look at the PRB examples, that is peer review board examples. Let me just take you to that. The peer review board examples. These are some of the comments that past peer reviewers have already made it. They say the reviewers shall focus on, yes, they have to focus on all this. Now you can see separate permanent and current files for attestation functions is not maintained. Working papers not properly organized. So when I start reading this, sometimes it will be painful for me to read out also, because this is widely prevalent. So when I say this, we cannot go on forever. We cannot go on forever in this model. There needs to be a change, and that change in the days to come, I think I heard that the peer review mechanism will also become online, wherein now the peer review mechanism is a friendly atmosphere done at the auditor's place. But I heard that it's going to be into an online mechanism, but we don't know when it will start. Okay, having said, you can just see here the kind of past examples, the institute's experience, non-compliance with documentation. PU does not have a set of procedures. On one of the engagements reviewed, it was noticed working papers were not properly organized. No working papers like audit program, checklist, specimen letter, standard organization, working papers are also missing. Sufficient working papers and removal of queries raised, not kept. Then working papers not maintained. You can see the past example. No documentation for trial balance, letter of representations, grouping, how the groupings have been arrived, evidence to support figures entered in notes on accounts, inventory sheets indicating method of valuation, statement of accounting policies, confirmations, trial balance of, say, fixed asset register, working of various ratios as a part of SA 520, working paper copy of audit program. Like this, the list is evidences. PU does not always follow the procedure of collecting evidences, does not obtain evidences from the parties or business associates, risk and controls. Assessment of audit risk is not done. No controls of audit evidences. PU does not have a policy to consider and assess inherent level of controls and whatnot. Analytical procedures, no performance of analytical review. No compliances with analytical procedure, that is SA 520. Of course, now thanks that Companies Act has come out with Schedule 3, wherein ratios have to be given. And these ratios have to be commented on CARO, wherever CARO is applicable. But that is a good sign. The reason is, wherever if I am not doing it, change will change. That is a saying. If I don't change, change will change me. So because general tendency of the auditors are not that quality oriented, the government is coming out with regulations to make these things mandatory. In other way, if someone follows morals and ethics voluntarily, there is no need for enacted code of conduct. The moment morals and ethics are compromised, then comes out the same morals and ethics will force us in the form of code of conduct. But of course, once a human being has a tendency to run against the ethical practices and morals, any amount of rules you write, he will start misinterpreting all those things. That's a different story. Okay. Now coming back here, there is no use of either statistical or non-statistical method of samplings. Meaning, the issue is the materiality itself is not done properly, and hence the sampling method has gone for a toss. Then quality control for audit work, SQC. I'll come back to that SQC a little later. And this is not followed. In the sense, coming here, the past examples of PRB is clearly saying that the quality of profession is not to that mark, number one. Two, there are FRRB experiences, QRB experiences. Let me just take you to that here, FRRB. If you look at the FRRB experience, these are all the non-compliances, deficiencies noted, and this is a document published by the ICAI, wherein it says, out of the samples they have verified, these are all the non-compliances. Ind AS 1 is not complied, 9%. Valuation standards are not complied to 14% of the time. And this much of serious non-compliances among very limited sample of 100 balance sheets only. Out of 100 balance sheets, the experience of FRRB is this much. Meaning, if all the listed 6,000 balance sheets are reviewed, then anyone can understand the quality issues. Now, coming back again. Deficiencies observed in financial statements with respect to fixed assets. Now, with respect to equity, with respect to components of profit and loss account, and so on. And I'll just take you to one or two disclosures so that, and this is a document which is published by the institute, which is widely available, and this should be made as a part of our audit program so that we also don't make similar kinds of errors. So this is this should be at our library, in the digital library, so that we can make a template in the office and circulate among all those who are involved in the audits, so that while they prepare the financial statement, they'll ensure that we are also not carrying out similar kinds of errors. Why should we do this? Because I said here, this is a proper system in place in my office to ensure that I carry out technical standards. Okay, so let me demonstrate how we can do in our offices. Just a moment, I'll just open one file. Yeah. So we at our office, we have tried to compile the so we at our office, we made the students or whoever the people to prepare a statement from this, so that what is that we have done it here. So you can just see here, as a part of AS 29, what are all the issues that are there in AS 29? Okay, you want to have control shift. I'll just make, so I've just made I've just made it in an Excel AS wise. So I want to see what are all the comments that are there in AS 2. So as a part of AS 2, the paragraph 26 of AS 2, it says accounting policies measured in measuring it. Now, what is there in the annual report? How the commentator has made it. So it says in one of the example that it may be noted that the accounting policy and explanatory note that may be attached to forming part of internal part of financial statement. In both the cases, given information and accounting policies contradict with the given information in the notes of inventories with regard to inventory valuation and so on and so on. Meaning, what I'm trying to say here is, institute has published a document. I am saying I have a system, proper system in place in my office to demonstrate that I am complying with the technical, professional and ethical standards, that the past experiences that are there, I am making a document and I am using this as a training for my chartered accountant, members, partners and everyone. In this way, we have just done out of 264 lines of content, 264 lines of content on various accounting standards, various Ind AS, various expert advisory committee related content which is there on the institute site has been brought into one Excel, so that what I am saying here is I have a proper system in place to ensure that I have complying with the technical standards. So I'm going back again. FRRB. Mind it, this is an institute's publication, widely applicable, widely available. You can convert this, this document, which is in the tabular form, all the observations are in the tabular form here. You can just see here. Yeah, earlier one was okay. So what I suggest is, because these are all in the tabular form and all, you can convert this into Excel and you can start using these kind of things. Okay. Further, for GST related things, AAR, advanced rulings, of vast advanced rulings which are running into 300 rows of judgments. 357 rows of judgment up to 2018. There's another file again. Okay. So what I'm saying is, with respect to technical standards on GST, interpretations on GST, my office has a proper system. We can develop a proper system through which the practicing unit is complying with the technical standards. Okay. So this is one compliance again. Next, QRB, Quality Review Board. Let us see the Quality Review Boards. I just close this, FRRB. Now this is a Quality Review Board. You can just see they have completed for this period. Quality Review Board of ICAI has completed this many, they have completed this much of reviews, 459 auditors reviews. The FRRB is the balance sheet review. Understand please. FRRB, Financial Review Board, Financial Reports Review Board, reviews only financial statements with 3-tier. One is technical reviewer will review, and then financial review group will review, and then board will review. 3 reviews will be there, and then that's how that document has come out. And this is audit quality review is done at the auditor's office on a particular file. Peer review is going to the peer review office and then look at this compliance. What is peer review is? Peer review, they look at these three. That's what we have understood. Now, what is quality review board? Quality review board member will go to the empaneled chartered accountant will go to the chartered accountant's office and pick up, or he is designated to verify one particular audit file. And out of that 439 reviews, you find 5 cases prima facie there as disciplinary action is recommended. So in this way, you find 255 cases where advisories are issued. 174 cases they have closed, generally acceptable. Meaning, if you can just look at the percentage here, 55%. 55% requires improvement. In what? Among the 457 cases. Then how many cases are there? How many audits are there? There are more than 7 or 8 lakhs of valid corporates. Now you can understand what can be the ratio here. So that is about QRB. And similarly, tax audit, DC, NEFRA, as we go on, I just demonstrate. So now, why are we so serious today about the peer review board? Peer review. The reason is, as sir was talking about, the chief guest was talking about, Chandrasekhar sir was talking about, today there are digital footprints. And these digital footprints are now integrated at the department level, meaning MCA is integrated with income tax, is integrated with GST, is integrated with customs, is integrated with RBI, is integrated with PF, is integrated with land records, is integrated with whatnot. There are 45 or 50 sources of information that is collected in AIS and FIS. I hope you know now. Even the client, most of the practitioners who are attending today, they accept, they agree. The client is surprised that he is having an FD account at some place. Client is surprised that he has bought he is having a property on which rental income is not been offered. We have seen all those surprises expressed by the client, meaning there will not be a surprise in the days to come where chartered accountants will be visiting with a letter stating that you have not complied with these provisions. So to that extent, the digital footprints are getting integrated, and hence we need to comply with ethical, technical, and professional standards with proper system in place. How that system, I'll demonstrate at the end of the session. So today's quality of profession is getting affected because of the integrated digital footprints has become a big challenge. There are surveillance through the data integration and non-compliances of ethical standard. Weak policies and procedures in the many of the majority, I can say the chartered accountants offices, policies and procedures, which is about standard quality control. ICAI issued standard quality controls. That is compromised. That is not followed generally. And weak standard quality controls, and then there is a huge expectation from the clients. And clients' attitudes and behaviors is becoming a big challenge for us. And in spite of all these things, there is a competition going on. And in spite of all these things, we need to have a self-review mechanism, that is PRB. Okay. Now I said ILFS NEFRA case. Now we are looking at quality professional controls. PRB, we have seen the examples. We have seen FRRB examples. We have seen QRB examples. You can look at the tax audit quality review board. We have DCs now. All the cases are on the site. NEFRA site also has all these SEBI and so on. Now NEFRA, it says in one of the report, it says auditor has failed. The word failed is used 36 times in one of the report. In one of the report, NEFRA has used 129 times the standards, auditing standards. You remember I was talking about this. I was talking about these. Okay, I was referring to the audit report. Let me not go into again. So I was referring to audit report here. So these wordings, NEFRA has said that you have not complied. They have said 129 times they have shown that the firm has not complied with. And they have said the firm is lacking professional skepticism. 16 times they have said. And this is how the reports are being discussed and which are widely available. And these are about various expectations. Just these are various things again. So again, the NEFRA's experience in audit quality review. Page number 240 of that report, what I was mentioning. Page 80, they have referred to non-compliance, then professional skepticism in this way. So these are all the way in which the audit quality is looked into. Then other one is ICAI, DC. You can see again this issue where there are cash payments of more than 10,000, which the income tax officer has highlighted during the process of scrutiny, which were missed at the time of audit filing. So this has went up. This is what Chitale sir was referring to. So what I am talking about here is that there are so many issues, and we need to be prepared with proper systems to comply with technical. So coming back again. Yeah. So I'm just putting this in a lighter way. I was again and again referring to the system, proper systems. I was referring. Look at the department systems. It is something like this. Like Kim is attacking with latest nuclear things on one side. And if the statutory regulatory authorities like ED, CBI, SFIO, MCA, if those regulatory authorities are like Kim with arms and ammunitions, I as a chartered accountant trying to fight with bows and arrows. And now I think you can understand the seriousness with which the auditors needs to adopt the technologies to carry out, meaning adopt the systems for these three things. So coming back again. So now we have understood about the scope, about the quality profession. Now let's go into the role of practice unit. Role of practice unit. The practicing unit should have a system, and those systems should talk about the risks in the audit, and the practice unit should have controls so that they will not give a material, they will not certify a material misstatement, so that the practicing unit will not certify a risky balance sheet. Now, for this first one, there needs to be an automation. But today, most of the chartered accountants have automation all not in one place, but they are all in bits and pieces. Why bits and pieces? The reason why bits and pieces is, we all know there are technical standards, there are ethical standards, there are professional standards, and all these standards are running all these concepts and rules and regulations are running into procedures or professional standards. The auditing standards are all procedures. These procedures are more than 30 auditing standards, and each auditing standard is running into number of pages, and all that has to be automated. And you can understand the risk involved. After doing all those things, whether this product will be useful to everyone, I don't think. So the automation in the chartered accountant's office will be always in bits and pieces. The peer reviewer has to look into the system controls which are in bits and pieces, needs to be integrated and give an opinion. That is the role of a peer reviewer. But practicing unit needs to put various processes into one platform wherever possible. So I've already talked about the past examples of PRB. Let's move on. So the role of PU. Practicing unit. So the role of practicing unit, I just do one thing. I'll just run through quickly the process, peer review process, though majority of them might already be, majority of them are already practicing it. So I'll quickly run through that and then we'll come back to the screen. Yeah. So overall peer review process is planning stage. So selection of a reviewer and initially sample selection. So once a reviewer will be selected, 3 names will be sent to the practicing unit. Out of the 3 names, most friendly name will automatically be picked up by the practicing unit, and then he has to give that questionnaire. From that questionnaire, sample has to be selected. I'll show what is the sample rules and all. And then execution carries out with the sample records and all. The peer reviewer will verify the sample records with respect to the twin objectives. What is the twin objectives? At the cost of boring you, I keep repeating this: technical, professional, and ethical standards will be reviewed. Compliance to the technical, ethical, and professional standards compliance will be reviewed by the peer reviewer, along with whether there is a system in place which will ensure that these technical, professional, and ethical standards are complied with. So that on all the sampled files, the reviewer will verify. Then it goes into the reporting stage. Then planning stage. Selection of a practice unit. PRB will select the PU for review of, or PU will voluntarily apply. That is what our chairman sir was, PRB chairman sir was saying, that you all voluntarily apply for it. You all kindly voluntarily apply for the peer review so that these things will be in place, because empanelment has started asking it. Then not only empanelment, but also the bank audits, which is favorite for us. So they are also might be requesting it. So voluntarily go and ask for the peer review process. Then submission of declaration. So once this is selected, then you will select a name. Then peer reviewer will give a declaration. Then selection of reviewer. 3 names will be given. Then after that, once the peer reviewer is selected, a questionnaire is prepared. then initial samples will be picked up as per the sample procedure that has to be followed. It is well laid out by the PRB board. Peer review board has laid down the way in which samples has to be picked up. I'll cover those things. Then once that is there, initial meeting with the PU, then general controls. The peer reviewer will verify the general controls. What general controls? How the compliance to technical, professional and ethical standards are complied with. What controls are in place which ensures this technical, professional and ethical standards are complied. Those controls will be reviewed. What are those controls? We'll anyhow review a report, then you will understand. Next, then review of records and the samples. First, they will verify the controls. Then they take samples and see whether the controls are complied in the sample or not. Then preliminary report is issued. They say preliminary report is what I have already demonstrated to you. The past examples I have demonstrated that the working paper not there, permanent file and working papers is not segregated, evidences are not collected, management representation letters are not collected, audit engagement letter is not carried out, not given. All those things, preliminary report is given to the PU. Then PU has to reply to the preliminary report stating that yes, I will comply with, or he will say yes, now the audit engagement letter is ready. Now the management representation letter is ready. Confirmations have been brought, the letters have been given. All those things he will demonstrate to the PU. Then PU will issue a final report. This is the process of PRB. So we'll follow this process now. So let us take one questionnaire. Let us take the questionnaire. Yeah, I'm just taking the demo questionnaire. By the way, I think the participants are listening because I'm not able to see anyone. This is something like I'm praying onto a wall. I don't see any God there. I'm addressing God's own country members, but I don't see any of them in a lighter way because I've been talking for more than 1.5 hours of time. I've been talking. I'm not getting any response on either on the chart or from anyone. I don't know whether I'm traveling on the right direction or not also. So can we just take 2-3 minutes of break so that members may interact? Members may interact for some time. Yes, sir. So that I'll get some breathing time to for my throat. Yes. Can someone
Okay, sir.
interact? Yes, sir. Let me just see. There are 3 charts. Due to power cut, there will someone thrown. Okay, we are there intently listening. Murli, thank you, Murli, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, yeah. Can the branch representatives interact for a while on the issues till now?
Yes, Premnath sir, I'm Jose here.
Sir.
Yes, sir. We are talking about the peer review and disciplinary, action. Sometimes they ask for the documents and all. So once this peer review, the firm is peer reviewed, whether it will be a conclusive, whether we can claim that, we have taken the due care on all the aspects of documentation and all those, whatever required. We have taken, adequate care, and, we have done we have taken due diligence. Whether we can claim that once, if peer reviews happen, or peer review, we have gone for, one firm has gone for a peer review.
Right.
Or any advantage will be there? Like, what is your view on that?
I say all these days, I have been carrying out my practice, and this first time I am getting peer reviewed. So someone else will start saying that, "Hare, we have surprised in many peer reviews that salaries payable, okay, salaries payable, rent payable, these are all grouped under provisions. These are all grouped under provisions under current liabilities. Provisions are only two things: tax provision and employee provisions. Only two things. But we are surprised they have grouped everything as provisions on, because this is a language that is used. Now, whether this will have a material misstatement, that's a different story altogether. But when you look at the ratios and all, the ratios will go for a task now. So the compliance to the Schedule 3 is still not properly complied with the firms. And I have just shown you, out of the 100 PRB, out of the 100 FRRB reviewed, the kind of compliances they have flashed, hundreds. And if you look at the 5,000 and odd, okay, I may be talking about a very remote balance sheet, a small company balance sheet. I'm surprised to see listed company balance sheets where almost most of the listed companies are under Ind AS. We have seen non-Ind AS audit report is given. Cash flow is applicable for the limited companies. Cash flow is not given, but the auditor is saying cash flow is there. And Caro, I have just now flashed you this year Caro, 2020 Caro, 2022 Caro, which specifically says, "Arey, you just say yes or no. Don't invent new English." Like, we sorry to say, we have a very good English saying that fixed asset register being maintained. Being maintained. Being is present tense, maintained is past tense. Meaning, whether fixed asset register is maintained, we don't comment. We say being maintained. Now the ROC, the MCA has woken up for all these things. I said, "Arey, you just say yes or no." And I've just now flashed you that the stock statements are matching with unaudited records. Can we use these words? I don't know. And that's a very big firm in the world. They have their own methodology they have their own supportings for that. That's a different story altogether. But as Sir Joe Sir was asking about, once I am exposed to a third party, the way in which he will review, there should not be a sudden surprise. Okay, sir, till now I am not peer reviewed. Okay, one of my client is having 500 crores and he has become NPA. Then there is a SFIO, CBI, ED, all those things are needed. And that CBI and all has started saying that, "Arey, you have said stock inventory is as certified by the management." Can I say inventory as certified by management? Today I can say many balance sheets have inventory as certified by the management. This word should not be used. If that is the case, why chartered accountant audit? Let everything be certified by the management. Now, am I getting fees only for putting my round seal? 150 rupees round seal I put and get 1 lakh rupees by saying as certified? As certified by management, the word should not be used at all. As per the informations and explanations provided. Now, when I say in Caro, as per the information and explanations provided, do I have a management representation letter supporting to as per information and explanation provided? If so, only then I need to use as per the information and explanations provided. In one of the cases in CBI, 250 crores worth of coal, 250 crores worth of coal is written off overnight. Then they have asked the auditor, what is this? He said, I got a certificate. What certificate? Expert. What expert? He said that the coal is not usable. Then if the coal is not usable, if you are saying today if the coal is not usable, 2 years back you bought it, how come the customs authorities have permitted this coal to come into, which is, if it is a low grade coal, which has no value, how this customs duty is paid for the highest level of coal prices then? Whether the expert who has given that the coal is of inferior quality, will that prevail? Or the customs officer who has given a quality and then released it into the market by valuation, will that prevail? Number one. Number two, then the CBI officer started asking, yes, you have relied. Now you have relied on expert. Which auditing standard you have followed? SA 620. What is SA 620? This is the way in which the CBI officer was asking. You said you have complied with SA 620, no? Yes. Okay. SA 620, he is reading out the paragraphs. He is saying SA 620 says the expert letter should be addressed to the chartered accountant, not to the client. Now, how did you accept this? Meaning, the point what I am trying to emphasize here, the advantage is, if I expose my documentation to a third party willingly, voluntarily, with an intention to revive myself so that there will not be a surprise hit from the market. And today the kind of surprise hits that are attacking the chartered accountant are very serious. Now the big firms, they are facing huge problem that they are debarred for 5 years. I met one of the big four partner last week. He's saying the NEFRA is debarred for 5 years, one of the partners. Suddenly, and they say, sir, 10 of our files are in the review, but they are commenting very badly on only one file. The 9 files which are very good as per them, they are not commenting, which are not available in the market. You can look at to what extent we are getting exposed into the market today. And that's what I'm saying here again and again. As I flash my this is what I'm saying here. We are exposed. We are exposed to this. We are seriously exposed. So there needs to be a procedure. And yes, I'll come back to this little later. Anyone, anything else, sir? Very good discussion.
So we have a question Q&A.
Yes, madam.
From Sandeep Chandran, what are the possible implications of negative remarks or advisory recommendations made by peer reviewer on the report?
Yes, as of now, that institute is not that much serious because it's a friendly affair. It's a very friendly one. To my knowledge, the peer review board is giving an advisory, take care of from the next, or instead of giving 3 years, instead of giving, once you are peer review, they will give a 3 years permit. Now, if there are any serious things, the board may decide that no, boss, you come back within 1 year again. Again, in next 1 year, you saturate your things so that now I'm giving you the peer review with an advisory, but this is valid only for 1. So within next 1 year, he has to come back and again get himself reviewed, peer reviewed, so that he can roll on. Otherwise, that would be serious. And I don't think the peer reviewer also will be very serious in highlighting very bad things. Of course, because I only select a person who is well known to me. So once they select 3 names, if my preferred name is not there, then I'll say, sir, kindly give 1 more, 3 more names I can ask, because there is no limit as of now. So I can, at least next time we can get 1, whatever it is. As I said, we are professionals. Like Sita Devi has jumped into the fire to prove that we need to prove. We need to prove that I'm a professional because I am one among 1 lakh, but not one among 130 crores of population. I am one among 3 lakhs of professionals. So I need to behave different. Okay. Anything else, sir? Anything else?
Sir,
Yeah.
you were talking about this level of automation,
Yes,
and that has quite interested me because as I agree with you that the level of automation we can't have that from the top to the bottom. That's so. Is there really a software or which can give us the required things like getting this automation done, like even the financial statements and the required representations and even all the confirmations and to just fill in something like that, and you get the UDIN only after this procedure. Is there any market ready to purchase projects or something? Ready to purchase software?
Fantastic, Ajit sir. Fantastic question. As of now, there is no software, but I know there is one software which is under preparation. If possible, I'll demonstrate that at the end of the session.
Okay.
But it is all in bits and pieces now. Whatever is there, it's all bits and pieces. Okay. Having said that, what are the processes of chartered accountants' activities? If we can list out, then we can say what are the processes or what are the activities that are going on in a chartered accountant's office. If we can list out, then look at for these processes, what are the mechanisms that are being followed by any other firm effectively. So what we can do is we can see, like when last time when I've come for the Cochin bank audit session, Joe sir has taken me to one small branch. I don't remember the name. There I met one very young chartered accountant. I don't remember his name also. Very tall guy, and he has used KNEW. There is a software which Institute is giving at free of cost. KNEW. So that software he has automated for the GST. Within the work, the GST reconciliations which he was doing it for more than 2 or 3 days, now he is able to do it in 10 minutes of time. Point is, we, the Navaratna members who are gathering here, if we can interact, sir, this is the process, what is the tool you are using? This is the process, what is the tool you are using? Okay, I am using 3 many tools. I am using tax filing tool. I am using Tally. Can I integrate Tally and tax filing tool? Yes, you can integrate. Someone will say, sir, I am maintaining, one of my client is coming with books of accounts in Excel. Can I port it into Tally? Yes, you can do it. Sir, I have a Tally. Can I convert this Tally into Schedule 3? Yes, you can convert. There is a Ledger Vision program is there. Sir, I have all my data in Ledger. I have all my data in Tally. I want to automate the Ledger scrutiny in as less time as possible, in 2-3 minutes of time or 5 minutes of time. All the deviations, the rules of that, can it be brought out in no time? Yes, there is a product called Ledger Vision, where I'll just give an example so that you will understand. Say I have borrowed a working capital loan. And out of this loan, a check has been issued for chit fund. Some chit fund company, I have issued a loan. I have issued a check. Now that software will highlight borrowed funds have been diverted for investments. Like this, they have written 150 rules they have written, wherein this 150 rules will be read in a time of 2 or 3 minutes of time, and it flashes all the errors or deviations in no time. What is that we are doing? We are ledger scrutiny. What ledger scrutiny are you doing? You are doing ledger scrutiny with some rules. Now, whether a rule can be read by a software? Yes. When 104 satellites can be launched with one rocket, why can't this 150 simple rules be put into a system? So let me just scribble shortly so that you will understand. Let me just take up the text file, and then I'll just type so that it will be. Note file. Okay. I'm just opening a note file, notepad. Right. So I'm just asking you about the firm procedure, firm activities, procedures. Now I have tax filing. Now you have tax filing, many tax filing softwares are there. Now you also have accounting softwares. Now what we need a bridge which will accounting software which is integrated with tax filing. Now you have reduced the errors. Now, what is there in the audit? What is the process that you carry out in audit? Number one, financial statements. I certify that the financial statements are as per Schedule 3. Now, there are softwares wherein you give TB, it will convert to Schedule 3 with notes, with audit report suitable to that trial balance. Like say, for example, 50 crores and above, 250 crores and above. Of course, not in days. Like say, cash flow is required. Like say, CARO is required. Like say, cash flow is required. Cash flow is not required. Internal financial controls are required. Internal financial controls is not required. Based on this, it will decide what kind of report needs to be prepared so that whatever you want to add, you can add later on. So this is about financial statement. There are tools available in the market. Next, ledger scrutiny is the biggest nuisance we face today. So for ledger scrutiny, I said ledger vision is one thing. And there are other there are some softwares in Bangalore. I don't remember right now. And more so, you can put some rules in Excel and you can run it you can run on daybook. If time permits, I'll just demonstrate that. So what else is there in audit? So for an audit client, we do filing. So for filing, you have a software. Now you have a ledger scrutiny, which will highlight the risks. From this risks, you have to link. The biggest challenge today is link observation. Observation which has risk of material misstatement to audit opinion. I'll demonstrate that. If this is there, then majority of our audit risks are taken care. First thing, the biggest challenges that we are facing today is Schedule 3 and notes and policies are not as per MCA or Companies Act. What is the way out for this? Template. Next biggest nuisance is ledger scrutiny. We are not able to identify certain major deviations. For that, either you can use a product or you can run you can dump the daybook and you can run the rules so that the system may highlight. Then you link all those observations to your audit opinion. So the three major risks are taken care of. So these are all in bits and pieces. All these things can be into one software. I'll come back to that software a little later. Let me just close this.
Anything else?
We have one more question from Sandeep. Can you suggest any reliable softwares which have these functionalities?
Right now, CCH is there. CCH, one software is there, wherein it is only talking about the documentation. And the UK software is there, which you can refer on the net, you will get it, but those are all very costly. Then you have Caseware, which is widely used across the world, and that is also costly one. What I say is, my suggestion with respect to these softwares is, instead of quickly jumping to the software, because my client profile is, say, if you can categorize all the clients as Z category, medium, and lower, like say ABC analysis of your client profile, if you can do it. If you have all the clients are listed, then you are at the highest risk. Then you need to have a fully automated softwares. But I have only 2 or 3 listed. For that, you can have one process. I have most of the cases are tax filing only, so I need not bother. So depends upon the client profile, because why I'm saying this is, there is very high craziness is going on in the market, which is exploited by the software people, that chartered accountants demanding softwares, they are just dumping softwares. You buy it, after some time you say, "Arey, this is useless." And if you are ditched 2 times, 3rd time, if someone says software, you will shout at him. You don't use any softwares. So it is my mistake, buyer beware. It is my mistake, I am not able to evaluate a proper software. So what I say is, whatever are your types of works that you are doing, list down and see to what extent you can automate. Then put all these bits and pieces into one place, or look at if there is any software available now. So as I said again, analytics is the biggest. 90% of the work what we do is analytics. So if there is a very good software of analytics, then most of our jobs are done. Okay, having said, I'll start moving and then we'll take up the issues again. I've stopped at one place. Let me just go on to that. Yeah, we have stopped at questionnaire. So this is where we have stopped. So once you start with the process, you have to provide the questionnaire. So this is asking about your statistical information, registration number and all, whether you have a network, for which period you are doing it. Now this is one place where it is asking, you need to be very careful with this. You need to be prepared very well. It is asking, if you are a firm, then name of the partner, membership number, is associated how long, what is his past post qualification, professional experience, where is he, what is his areas of interest. Then when in the past, how many people have joined and how many people have left. Why I'm saying is, my experience, the moment peer review is selected, firms are taking more than 10 days. Now earlier it is 70 days. Now it has come down to 45 days. Now from 45 days, I'm surprised that Chairman sir was saying, in future, it will be only 30 days, not so many days. So in 30 days, if you have to talk about these things in one place, probably you need to have your own internal database for us, whether in Excel or whatever it is. Without that, we can't give this. So that's the reason why I have written here is past PR. If the firm is got peer reviewed in the past, then the past data you can just put it here. Okay. Next, it is asking how many chartered accountant employees, consultants you have. Now,
the practicing unit will give it. But as a peer reviewer, he will check your income and expenditure and verify to whom all you paid consulting. For tax planning or whatever, everyone knows it. And there are some chartered accountants who are employed somewhere, they contribute here, they take money, their name is not there in the institute. All those things, while they review the high-end income and expenditure, they'll come out. And ETDS, Form 18, whether names given here or supporting here, check this. Now, it says employees. Now you have a article student, they should match with SSP portal. Then you have semi-qualified assistants, check with income and expenditure whether those are all genuine or not. Reason is, why I am saying this is, as you go deeper into the reporting, in the reports, the system, the peer reviewer will be asking you, what is the quality of these people, whether they can handle the assignments, the kind of assignments that you have. Say the firm has 4 or 5 listed companies, but he doesn't have even a single paid assistant chartered accountant. There are partners, okay, but the partners are too old and none of them the old partners have not completed the IND certification course. Then how do you demonstrate that there is a required knowledge in the firm to carry out this complicated audits? That should be kept in mind while preparing this document. Next, does PU has any branches? Who is the in charge? Check SSP portal. It is also asking, how is the control procedure followed by the branches? Now I say, I am an all over India. I have a branch in Trivandrum, but I have I have a head office in Trivandrum, but I have branches across the country. But how this HO is controlling them, whether literally will they control, or how the quality controls are done, the peer reviewer has to pick samples representing almost all the branches. Now, it is asking how many tax audits have been carried out. Now, how many UDINs have been generated? Then these are all part of questionnaire. Now it is asking, in the past 3 years, what is your turnover? Now, whether this turnover is matching with your GSTR, whether the audit work that has been done, UDINs are talking about the same. For the UDINs and GST and income tax, is there a reconciliation possible? Why? In UDIN, I may say I have carried out a job, I have carried out some work, attest function. The peer reviewer will ask, are you charging fees as recommended by the institute? So the peer reviewer will say, you are giving so many Form 15 CA, CB, all those things you are doing it, you are not charging anything for it. And the minimum recommended fees is something else you are not doing. Then the peer review board says, wherever the fees are charged below the recommended fees, those things have to be selected for sample and those have to be reviewed. That is one of the conditions. Okay. So when it is asking about UDIN information, now whether I am using my UDIN database to properly evaluate my firm, or whether institute will evaluate my UDINs and find out what am I, can they find out? They are. I heard some CCM saying that they are surprised to see some 15-16 lakhs of UDINs were generated in a shorter period of time by a small firm in one village. They are surprised to see that. Meaning that some surveillance is going on the UDIN. Okay, can I use this UDIN for betterment of my practice? let me see. So I'm saying the illustrative pivots that can be generated from UDIN MIS. Total number of UDINs generated for various types of works. The gross receipts from certificates. Total amount of hours spent. Man hours spent for each assignment. Is it possible? Now, why I'm saying this is because now the peer reviewer is asking about UDINs. Now, if I can take every UDIN and link it to the number of the amount of fees charged and the amount of man hours spent, then I'll find out what is the amount of man hours I'm spending on each certificate or type of certificate. And if this is drastically lower, there may be some issues. Okay, that is another. Now, article or staff involved, who is involved? If I can expand the UDIN and try to collect some more information, like who has worked on all these things, I can find out year-wise who is contributing more. In addition to that, which partner is signing what kind of certificates? Today it is possible. Now you have so many other things, meaning what I'm saying is, if you can strengthen the UDIN properly, that itself will become a proper database for our strengthening the office works. Okay, this is one issue. As having said about the UDINs, I thought I'll just and most of them I have seen the last column in the UDIN, you have to use it, which is not shown to the outsider. Now, why don't we structure that last line with a customer name slash some resource name who has worked on it slash number of hours worked slash, so that itself will become a what is called as an MIS for the firm. Probably someone may say, no, this information institute will see, I don't want to give it. Okay, you don't give it, but you can later on dump it into an Excel. Anyhow, you can download into Excel and you can start doing some analysis out of it. Anyhow, for peer review, you have to give this data. It is better we work now itself and standardize those UDIN generation system, and accordingly you can move ahead so that the quality can be achieved. Next again, it says then 18 of the questionnaire, it says furnish details where professional fees from a client exceeds 15% of the gross total receipts. How do you give this? Unless your UDIN is integrated with GST or income tax, this cannot be given. So it is better we do it now so that you will not take much time to give it to the PRB. Yeah. Now, digital competency model I was talking about, whether disciplinary, you have to collect a management representation, otherwise we will not know. Then it is asking whether client has obtained through process of tendering. This is a big nuisance today. When it is a tendering, everyone will say, I will give you money, you don't give me any fees, I will carry out the work after giving you money. Like that, the profession has started now. Sorry to say. I have seen one, the balance sheet size in India, in Hyderabad, one of the big corporation, government corporation, the balance sheet size of that is, the total of that balance sheet is 16 lakh crores. The balance sheet size 16 lakh crores. For that internal audit, an auditor has quoted 25,000 rupees for 2 years. So sorry, for 1 year with 2 visits, and the amount of scope is running into 4 pages. I don't know how that gentleman will carry out that audit for 25,000 rupees. Okay. but the firm PU has to give that information. So what PR has to do? The peer reviewer has to verify the list of clients that will be given in the clause 22. This is clause 21. Now, clause 22 has given a detailed breakup of what works are you going to do. For all the 3 years, client name, all bank categorized as A, NBFCs categorized as B, central PSUs categorized as C, D SEBI listed, and so on and so on and so on. So they have categorized all the clients into various categories. And all this information needs to be given. Name of the branch, who has done it, who is the signing partner, what is the type of engagement, whether engagement quality review is done on that or not, what is the turnover of that, what is the borrowing, what is the net worth. Now, anyone who is well versed with UDIN, they can understand now to report this column 22, unless you strengthen your UDIN generation mechanism and update it properly, or generate UDINs in a particular fashion, this cannot be an automated one. So this is one thing you need to remember. Now, next, coming again. And furthermore, there is a sample you have to follow. Now, PU has given all this information. Now, the peer reviewer has to pick samples. Now, samples has to be picked how? What is the condition that the institute has given? Let us look at this. Okay, let me just open that. Just a moment, I'll just open that. Just a moment. Yeah. Yeah. So here you can find what has to be sampled. The peer review board has given what has to be sampled. Firms in existence for more than 3 financial years. If the firm practice fees is less than 5 crores, minimum sample is 10, and so on. Minimum sample only. And further it says, sample selection should represent the total population. If there are less than sample, you select all the samples, and you select all the highest turnover. At least one sample file from the central statutory audit for each group. Like I have shown you, there are each groups. This is you have K1, J, AB, A to Z. You have various types of files. So there should be a sample picked up from all these categories. Sample must include all types of assignments. Sample must include assurance clients contributing more than 15% of total revenue. Whichever client is contributing more than 15% of revenue, all those clients have to be picked up. Sample must be taken from locations, all the locations. Then at least one sample to be taken from each partner. So sample must be picked for each year, and for all the 3 years you have to verify that. And in this way, the institute has given how to pick up the samples, for what reason you are picking up the sample. You have to give it, submit this report to the peer review board. That is about the samples. Okay, come back to this. Next, coming here. Now comes here. Now there are 3 or 4 parts. Part B. Now this is based on the SQC. The practicing unit has to fill this part B 1, 2, 3. There are so many pages of, there are 29 pages of information has to be provided by the PU. You can just see all this. I cannot read all this, but I'm just taking here. Now, first one is, does the PU has quality control manual? Frankly asking, how many of us have a quality control manual? Now, this is the biggest challenge now. Can we prepare a quality control manual? Yes. From where? From the SQC given by the institute. Let me try see whether this is open. Yeah. Okay, this is not getting open. Right, fine. If you can type on the ICAI for the standard quality control SQC, then you will get a document. Out of that document, it is easy to prepare quality control manual. We know very well, we all know very well, if this year a new CARO is coming out, one chartered accountant releases one CARO first, everyone will take that file, Control A, Control C, Control V, my CARO is over. So in that way, if one auditor is having quality control manual, everyone will have it. So the problem is, we should be able to customize that quality control manual, which can be prepared with SQC. Having said, let's just go on to now again. Whether who is interested with the responsibility of developing it. Like this, you have, there are 4 parts. Now this part, it is all about standards on quality control, which is professional standard and also an ethical standard. You have all those questions on it. Next, this is ethical requirements. It is asking about, do you have independence? Who is bothered about, who is taking care of ethics in your ethics related issues? Which partner is taking care in the in your office, in the PU? All these questions. What steps are taken for self-review thread? Self-interest, self-review, advocacy, familiarity, trust, threats. Who is taking care of it? How is it taken care? Minded, the PU is giving you all this information in 29 pages. The peer reviewer has to carry out, for every yes or no, he has to see the documentation, he has to see the process, he has to see the systems and controls in the office, which enable them to say yes. So that is the role of PR. Now, like here, has PU received fees from the clients below the minimum scale of fees? Every auditor will say no. But from UDIN, from GSTR, we have to match both and then try to do this. And whether PU statutory auditor or client rendered any other services prohibited under 144, how do I do? Again, I have to look into the UDN, GSTR and client wise, and then you can do this. Whether incoming auditor of an entity, whether I have got new audits this year. Now, how do I know this new audit? Check UDINs for new clients. Then whether any network, check SSP. Whether PU has any guidelines issued by ICAI with requirements respect to engagements procured through tender. Check UDINs, check the list of government list and clause 22. Earlier I have shown you the clause 22. Any website is there. Any QRB comments are there, any FRRB comments are there, any DC regulated issues are there. This is about. Now this client relationship and specific, these are all policies and procedures with respect to all the auditing standards. Now, how do I comment on this? How do I comment that is complying with audit engagement letters? Okay, someone was asking, one madam was asking, and another chartered accountant was asking, sir, can we have a small tool so that we can develop this? Or can I have an Excel utility to use this? Can we think of using Excel for these kind of things? Yes, probably. Let me demonstrate that. Yeah. I'm just, I think I'm able to share the Excel. I'm able to share Excel.
Yes, sir.
Am I able to share Excel? Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. So let's see here. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to pull all the documentations into one place using Excel. Say, for example, on this particular date, team, who is this team? I'll maintain a database for team here. These are the people who are on my team. I'll maintain a team. And so I'll pick up CAABC. We'll work on a client. This is the client list. So I can pick a client list. Now, today I am starting a new audit work. So what stages are there in audit? Okay. What stages are there in audit? Let me just flash in. What stages we have in audit? These are various stages of audit. First is preliminary engagement activity is one stage. Next, understand and plan the audit work, second stage. Third one, perform and evaluate. Fourth one, conclude. Meaning that there are 4 different stages in audit: preliminary engagement, understand and plan, perform and evaluate, and conclude. Okay, let us come to this. So there are 4 stages. Now I have given you a drop down in this. So first I am starting with preliminary engagement activity. So I'll give a code here. What will I do with this? So I have various stages in a balance sheet. In an audit, I have to look at share capital. I have to look at reserves. I have to look at long-term provisions, tax payable, other loans, other current liabilities, other current assets. Like this, I have various fixed assets or property, plant and equipment, inventory, long-term loans and advances, other current assets, current investments, inventory, total revenue, and so sales, other operating revenue. Like this, there are many areas. So the person who has come here, Mr. A, for this client as a part of preliminary inquiry, he will select this PE. The moment he selects, you can see here there is a VLOOKUP used. There is a VLOOKUP used here. So with that, if I change this, like say, I'll change to reserves. Now I have to search, I have to look at the areas called long-term provision. Okay. I will do fixed assets. Now fixed assets. Okay. I have to look at the inventories. Okay. In inventories, what should I do? This is a sub area. In inventories, I have to look at. So I have, the moment I have selected inventories, only those relevant to the inventories will come here. Okay. Now I'll select preliminary inquiry. The moment I have selected a preliminary inquiry, those relevant to the preliminary inquiry only will come. Now, what are all these? These are all none other than the SA 200. SA 200 is saying that as a part of preliminary inquiry, I have to inquire past history. I have to look at the past annual reports. I have to take firm's client continuance policy, engagement risk factors, management integrity, firm competency, ethical independence issues. All these things I have to comply before accepting an engagement. Okay, I will say that I will do, okay, I will say I will do fixed assets. So fixed assets, what should I verify? So this is not working. Okay, so let me take inventory. So inventory we have seen. Okay, let me take something else now. Let me take other current assets. Now for other current assets, I have to look out all these issues. Now what is it saying? The moment a chartered accountant, firm member, article student has selected a client, has selected an audit area as a part of this, then as a part of areas, now system is saying that array you carry out all these issues. Now as a part of that, now he says, okay, now he says he has observed the procedures. Now what procedure he has to perform for this? For this procedure, he has to perform discussion with management, business process. He has to carry out this audit procedures. As a part of this, he has to carry out audit procedures, meaning the moment you have selected this, the system itself is saying, array, you do all this. Now you have carried out all these processes. Now, when you have carried out all these processes, why are you carrying out all this process? To report. Now, what will you report? What is your observation? Your observation is saying there is improper controls relating to mitigation of risk as per the previous auditor's comment. As you are looking at preliminary engagement, you have seen the past report. The moment you have seen the past report and past businesses and all, you have seen an observation here, improper controls. Now, what is this type of control? Now, this type of control, you can tag what kind of this control is. If this is a serious control lapse, now the moment you select a serious control lapse, now you attach a document. What document are you attaching? Previous audit. Now, what is that file number? Now, whether that file is in PDF or Word or Excel or what. Now, the moment you have selected a type of, opinion, type of observation, the moment you have tagged a type of, the moment you have typed a tag of observation, what audit opinion has to be given, it is changing. You can just see, I'll change it. I'll say improper maintenance of accounts. It is saying qualified opinion you give. I say opinion issue is not in conformity with generally accepted accounting. Give a qualified opinion. Now, non-compliance to terms of sanction of banking loans. Give a qualified opinion. Now it says conformity with books of accounts. It's saying give a clean opinion. Meaning, for every activity that a team member is doing on a daily basis, this is a log, file log, that on daily basis you are doing it. The system is prompting you what to do, what not to do, what file you have to attach, what file did you see is all. Now, this is a very simple tool. This is done in Excel. And you have team members, you have coding here, you fill all this. And this is integrated working paper file. So what standards you need to comply? Now, what standards you need to comply? This is SA 200 preliminary stage. So I have written here, you are carrying out all these activities as per what? SA 200, 210, 220, 215. So all these activities will fall under this standard. SA 320, SA 320, SA 315, SA 500, SA 500, 505. Now, what are all these audit stages? These audit stages we have just now seen here. Audit stage. For each audit stage, you have various auditing standards. For each stage, what task you should do, what subtask you should do, what documentation you should do, how that outcome has to be there. Audit engagement letter, AEL, audit engagement letter. Audit engagement letter template will be in the form of an ICAI given template. Now, what else guide you require? So, what are all the things that you should be in the permanent file? What documents you have to maintain in permanent file, current file? And what controls? Who has done it? Who has reviewed working paper file? The technical standards, cash flow, what to be verified. You remember I was asking in the initial stage, I've stuck for most of the time on asking about on the balance sheet. On the balance sheet, I was on the audit report, I was asking about technical, professional, ethical standards. So technical standards, what system will ensure? So this checklist will ensure. Unusual issues are there, flag it. Materiality, risk assessment, all captured in one simple Excel file. Reviews, P&L items, yeah. So revenue, how do you check revenue? Revenue is what? Income from sale of products. Now, what is that you need to check? Which areas you need to check? Sale to related parties, approval process, debit and credit note process, sale of approval basis, revenue recognition, fixing of prices, cash sales, methodology of accounting, fictitious sales, job work sales, long pending, export, others. Now, what are all the Companies Act sections that will have impact? Income tax, GST sections. What other reporting? What other things you need to check? Then balance sheet items, what you need to check? Now, what procedures you have to check? From drop down, you can pick. So, okay, this is not linking. Okay, now, so for each item, I was asking about 150 rules for ledger scrutiny, balance sheet. What do you need to check? Sundry creditors, what do you need to check? There is general 18-point checklist. General 18-point checklist is there. Anyone can simply follow this. If there is any BRS, all unreconciled items for more than 15 days to be reported and investigated, more than 3 months to be reversed. Simple. So whomever you are giving BRS, ask them to follow this and give a checklist. Ask them to write down all this. So confirmation and physical verifications, items, detailed statement of fixed assets, cash, inventory, item wise, amount wise, store wise, invoice particulars, procedure for analysis. Procedure for analysis rule is same product, same, different. This is a concept, meaning same supplier, same product, but price is differing. Same, different. This is an analysis that has to be done. Check price manipulations. Why are you doing this? Check price manipulation, genuineness of purchases, and material misstatement of expenses. So you have given all this. Same, different. Same product, different supplier, different prices. PAN, GSTN is different. Supplier customer name is different, but they are all one person. Same company, but that company is headed by different. Like say, for example, this is to check price manipulations in this. That is same person he is coming with different PAN number, he is coming with different GSTN, he is coming with a different employee name. Company names are changing, but the owner of that company is one and same. So this is how you can carry out analysis, and of course ratio analysis, and so on and so on and so on. So we have much more things to discuss, like all this. Okay, but we have this itself, the 3 hours time itself was too much, and at one point of time the number of participants were 300 plus. Now it has come down to 220. That indicates that still people are interested in listening after 3 hours of session, wherein this process or questioning my processes. If anyone questions my process, I get irritated. That's natural. That's quite natural. Having done, I thank one and all for your patient listening. I thank Madam. I thank past Chairman Sir for making me to be a part of this Navaratna of God's own country. Thank you very much for patient listening.
Analysis of the various peer review process, and I'm sure that each and everyone who attended today's session is it's a real value addition to all of us. So as a token of our love and gratitude, on behalf of Navaratna branches, we would like to present a virtual memento to you. It will be screen shared now, and the physical memento will be sent to your postal address. So please attend the same on behalf of Navaratna branches.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
So now for the official vote of thanks, I invite our Vice Chairman, C. Sarin Chandran.
Thank you, Chairperson, for the opportunity. Good evening.
Can I please interrupt for a moment? Can I please? I'm sorry to
Okay, sir,
interrupt at this
sure.
stage. The members were asking for some software. I forgot to demonstrate. I'll just demonstrate in 2 minutes of time.
Sure, sir, sure.
Yeah. This is one which is still under development. Maybe any time it can hit the market. It has assignment management, clients assignment, add milestones, external users and all. It has a hub center for that. It has my office, all assignments, daily communication. Then it has reports, assignment reports, user recurring milestones overdue in the office, day-wise plan, day-wise performance. Then you have leave reports and all. You can set up all those things. In addition to that, you have good user defined or various analytics in this. Because of the time, I am not going into. You have analytics rules here. We have just now seen that. Oh, I have to log in. Okay. Yeah, there is some issue. Okay. Let me try again. in the last slide, I was talking about same, different and all. So those things system, the moment you dump data daybook into the software itself will highlight what are all the things that you need to have looked into. Your analytical rules. You can draw your own analytical rules. You can draw all analytical rules here. Which elements you want, which transaction, which location, which purchase order, which delivery challan you want. You can write a rules on your own. It's like Excel. You define these rules and then automatically the system will highlight all those what I was talking about. In the initial session, I was talking about the sampling. I was talking about materiality, and those things are captured here. The beauty of this is for all those selected materiality items, you can use checklists. You can have checklist here. You have checklist. So these checklists can be verified. And if this is tested positively, okay. If it is negatively tested, you can write a comment that will automatically take you to the CARO or take you to the information. It will take you to the internal financial controls reporting, or it will automatically pop up at the main report. Meaning, this has almost all the features in place, but this is still in. I'm not a brand ambassador to this. You can search for this product on the net, and then you can contact whatever you want to do it. Okay. Okay, that's what. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, good evening, one and all. So, really, indeed, it was a wonderful session, sir. Right from the beginning, you have explained in detail what cares we need to take, right from use of the automated tools. So, thank you, CA Premnath Degala, sir, for the wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
It is an opportunity to thank you on behalf of all the 9 branches for the excellent session. I would also like to thank the Chief Guest of the Day, CA Chandrasekhar Basant Chitle, Chairman, Peer Review Board, ICAI, for the insight he has provided in the opening remarks. I also take this opportunity to thank our Regional Council member, CA Sadishan sir, for coordinating this wonderful event. I would also like to thank the GMs of 9 GMs of Kerala, the 9 branch chairman of Kerala, for conducting such a wonderful seminar series. I would also like to express my special thanks to C. Sabu Thomas, Chairman, Kottayam branch, who is behind the beautiful flyers we are seeing daily. I would also like to express my special thanks to Thrissur branch chairman, C. Ajit Kemal, and branch staff Sumesh and his team for the wonderful technical support they are giving for all these days. Once again, thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarin.
Tomorrow's program, Nija, you can
Yes,
announce.
yeah. Thank you, sir. All members are requested to attend the MCQ questions available in your DLS dashboard, and also you're requested to submit the faculty feedback. In fact, this is mandatory to earn your CPA credit. And regarding tomorrow's session is hosted by Kozhikode branch. It's a session on FEMA and NRI investments by CS Sridhar. So request everyone to join for the same, and see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Premnath sir.
Yeah. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you. See
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Physically.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Madam, we are not getting MCQ. We are not getting
So it will be
MCQ.
available from 6 o'clock.
No, but when we click, not coming. And some other charter accounts from Kalisheri and Kannur also, they complain about that.
No,
I think
from
some
6
problem.
p.m. it will be there.
Yeah,
From
some
6
problem
p.m. it will be
is there.
available, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Please. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I think, sir, that MCQ link has come, only just questions has to be posted. So I think hopefully this today itself it will be available.
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.